Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Your Age is Not Your Cage with Carla Allen. And look, I'm not alone.
Hey.
I have someone with me. And if you followed and listened along long enough, you will recognize that this is my friend Tammy.
Yeah.
She has been on camera before, but Tammy and I have a story, as you can see from our hats. But Tammy is my kidney recipient.
That's me.
I donated a kidney to her a year ago. This is our special year edition, June 7th. I donated a kidney to Tammy last year. And so before I go on about that, this is Tammy.
I'm Tammy.
And so Tammy Turner, she does have a last name, but so we wanted to just jump on here and just talk and kind of share about the last year. We've done my very first episode of my podcast was with Tammy because we were about to go through the whole process of the kidney donation. And then we did an update last summer, and then we did a 6-month update. And then I can't believe like that was 6 months ago.
I know.
That we recorded that.
Flown by.
Yeah. And so now we are at our 1 year. And we're not going to repeat everything. I would love for you to go back and listen to the episodes. I'll put them in the show notes, which ones they are. But we just wanted to give a recap on kind of what's going on in the last year and both of us as far as our health, and share what we did this last weekend to celebrate our 1 year kidney anniversary. And yeah, so we're going to start with that. But Tammy, I want you to start off sharing a little bit of your journey, as far as, just so people do know it, just a tad bit of the background on why did you need a new kidney? How were you feeling, a year ago?
Okay.
And then our story since then.
Okay. All right. So about 15 years ago, I was told that I needed to go to a nephrologist and have my creatinine levels checked. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't even know what a nephrologist was. I went, I had heightened creatinine in my blood. They told me that I had stage 3 kidney disease. And then over the 15 years, which is a really long time, I progressed slowly until the end. Towards the end, I got to stage 5 very quickly. Once you are at stage 5, then you get to go on the transplant list, the national transplant list. So I got put on that. I sent out a prayer request to my high school girlfriends and said, hey, if you guys can pray for me, I'm hoping to find a donor. My family's being tested. I'm just really hoping to find a kidney so I don't have to go through the dialysis process, which I heard is very difficult and hard on your body. Several of my friends and of course my family all sent in the paperwork and filled out the form that, we'll try. We'll see if we're a match. And lo and behold, Carla's name kept rising to the top as a match, as a donor. So my high school friend from 40 something years ago.
Wait, that wasn't just like a few years back?
I think I thought like maybe 6 or 7 years, but people keep saying 40, which is kind of rude. And so she was a match, and we did a lot of testing. They needed to make sure that Carla was 100% healthy to donate her kidney to me. She was, and on June 7th, which is my mom's birthday, and my mom passed away 26 years ago. So it was a special date for me. And that was the date that they had available to bring us in. And we both went into surgery. They wheeled us in together. We prayed with our families. We prayed with the nurses and the doctors. And they took out Carla's kidney, which was massive.
Yeah, and let's talk about how thriving that kidney was.
And it was like the doctor ran in after they put her kidney into me and said it started working immediately. I was like, of course it did. But and now I have been, a couple hard months on me. trying to recover afterwards. And that was mostly just from surgery. It wasn't the kidney. It was just, the incision. Not as long for Carla, but, she also went through recovery time. And then, man, I have just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I have not stopped since I've got this new kidney.
Yeah. Well, and talk about before we go forward in that, I mean, how were you feeling before the surgery? Your day to day, what did that look like?
So I was still teaching school. I taught first grade, and I was on all day as much as I could be because, that's what you do as a first grade teacher. And then I would come home and I would sleep. And I usually slept until dinner, and then my husband would wake me up and I would eat dinner, and then I'd be back in bed by 8:30 that night. I was just exhausted. The first thing my husband noticed when he saw me after surgery was that my skin was pink and not gray. I guess we didn't realize that eventually all the color had just drained out of my skin, but it did. I looked back at pictures and I was like, wow, I was sick.
That's one of the first things we all noticed is, just your eyes, the color of your eyes, and your face, just the huge difference in all of that after surgery.
Right. And I found out that your skin is the largest organ in your body. And when your kidneys don't work, all the other organs are working overtime. So my skin had really taken a lot of a beating because of that. I could see it now. But since then, man, I have just been great.
Yeah.
I've been fantastic. We've been on trips. My husband and I went to California. We went to the Bahamas. We went to Florida for a concert. We and then went to Mexico and married our daughter off. And we just haven't stopped. We just go and go and go. And that's just because I'm finally healthy and my body is working the way it's supposed to work. And my heart is pumping correctly. My lungs are breathing easier. Everything's working and everything is fantastic.
And those are all things that before that would have just been a dream to go do all that because you didn't have the energy or the so fatigued all the time and didn't feel well. And
yes.
And you were real good because a lot of people didn't even know how sick you were because you were really good at
hiding it.
Hiding it and pushing through.
Yes. I always pushed through. I never wanted to be the sick girl. The people I worked with didn't know I even had kidney disease, and I was receiving a kidney until April when I told my boss and the people at work. And then in June 7th, I received Carla's kidney. I hated to say no because I didn't want to be that person that was like, oh, I'm not feeling well. I can't go. I can't do that. That's too much. And I overdid it a lot. But I didn't want to stop living. And I just didn't want to be that person that people felt sorry for. So I pushed and pushed and pushed. Towards the end, I was really sick. I could really feel my body.
You were stage 5 by then.
I was stage 5.
That's right, because that's how you got on the list. So
yes.
Very close to dialysis and which we all know that road is a very difficult road, and my heart just goes out to those that do have to live that way.
Yes.
But okay, so since then, and you've been on the trips and done things, but I know you've had some other big things in your life, things that maybe before most likely you would have missed. And what are some of those things you've gotten to do?
Well, and nobody likes to think about, well, if I wasn't here this last year, but if I wasn't here this last year, and if I was on dialysis and, could I have taken those trips and gone places and done all those things? But in the past year, I I retired from teaching, and I now have a new career in human resources at a school district where I'm helping to hire teachers, and I love it. I left teaching because of the germs and just my suppressed, immune system. So I just felt that it was healthier for me to sit out a year. I got the job as a HR person at a district, and I absolutely love it. My daughter got married, and there's no way that I would have been able to go and done that
Well, because
5-day
that
trip.
was in Mexico.
It was in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that would have been a lot. And imagine if I wasn't here and I'd missed that. And that's every mom's dream, is to see their daughter be happy and get married. And my daughter married her best friend, and I got to be there, and I got to witness it and be a part of it. And I was healthy and thriving, and it was just truly a blessing. My son had graduated from college, and he started his new career. So I got to see that. My stepson started a new career. There was just so much that happened in this past year that I think back to all the time. And I think to myself, what if you hadn't have been here? What if you'd missed that?
Mhm.
And and it makes me sad, but then at the same time, it makes me so grateful and so thankful that Carla listened to the voice inside of her, the voice of Jesus that said, this is what you were meant to do.
Mhm.
You were meant to Carla's the healthiest person I know. And why were you so healthy? What made God make you this way?
Right.
And Carla's determined that it is that from the age of 15 when we met, and then her healthy lifestyle, that this was what she was supposed to do.
Yeah, it was God's plan. I mean, he
Yes.
had it, he knew all along, and we've talked about that before. Of course, I had no idea that was going to be in my 2023 year. And so that, that was pretty crazy. But we've also talked about before the amount of peace that we had the entire way up until we were waving and saying, I love you on the way to surgery. Just peace. There weren't massive tears or fear or anything. It was just peace. And so I know that he prepared the way the whole way. And not that it was all easy, or the recovery, I think surgery recoveries, no matter what, can be easy, difficult, whatever, depends on the person, depends on the body. And I feel like I recovered very well and very easily. And I did get an infection, which they had said, what did they say? Staph infection?
Staph
They
infection.
ended up saying staph
Mhm.
infection. And that was the worst of what happened. And I was never feeling really that awful and stuff. It didn't look great. But other than that, I just got back on track and started slowly doing things and getting my life back. And, so here we are, up to a year ago, and we both feel amazing. We both are energetic, and I feel just as bit the same as I did before the surgery. And the encouragement, even if people haven't donated a kidney, or I think of all the people out there that have chronic illnesses that are chronic, where it just plagues them every day, or people that have cancer or whatever illnesses that cause you just to be like you were, where it's debilitating, it takes away from your life, you're fatigued, you don't have the energy, you're not able to do what you want to do. And I have always hoped, and I know you have too, that through our journey that we speak to not only what we've been through, but that this expands out there to people out there that suffer every day, and that somehow, some way, that this would help give them hope in ways of finding help, finding a way out, digging deep, finding what the root causes are, and get to that, and just never ever lose hope.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. And my heart goes out for those people that suffer on a daily basis. Because I suffered on a daily basis, and it's just a hard way to live. It's it's just very, very difficult. And like I said, I didn't want to be one of those people that stayed in bed and felt sorry for myself and said, no, I can't do it. I don't have, the strength or the energy. But it's a sad way to live. So I truly hope that anyone that listens and knows somebody, or if you yourself are dealing with that chronic pain and chronic illness, and I pray that you find your way out.
Yeah, and not lose hope along the way, because it's usually not just the person it affects their family.
Oh, the whole family. Yes.
And so it can be such a difficult journey. And I know from the times just when I don't feel good, or even like through my recovery, when I couldn't quite do what I did before, it makes you so incredibly grateful for your health. I mean, so incredibly grateful for good health. And I thank God every single day for my good health and the ability to do what I do and walk and take care of my body and go to the gym. And I don't take one bit of that for granted. And so, Tammy and I mentioned that we knew each other since we were 15. So we are both 59 years old. So very long friendship. And I know you were all thinking maybe 20s, but yes, we are.
We will shock you.
Yeah, I will actually hit the big 60 this November. And again, it's when I want to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to be that age, that I go back to the gratitude, and I'm like, I am so thankful I get to turn 60. I get to celebrate. I get to be here. And then Tammy will be 60 in March. But yeah, so we have known each other a long time. And when someone in your friend group, and we all get together quite often, and we have a big get together in September with several high school friends. But when anyone in our group, or someone we knows is enduring something, of course, we're going to step up and we're going to do something. And again, an area of gratitude where I'm just so thankful that we have those people in our life. And our Fab 50s group, which I guess we're going to change the name eventually, or we just stay that. But without them and the support and the love and the encouragement and the way they all pulled together and walked us through that entire process, before, during, and after, has been incredible. And I mean, and our family too. We never, I mention them because for those of you that have good friends, or you have people outside of family, of how beautiful and important it is when you do have people like that in times like this, I am not going to be alone.
Right.
When
I put the text message out that I needed prayers, I had no idea the full extent of what my friend group, would have done. I had no idea at the extent. I mean, Carla gave me her organ. She gave me a kidney. All of our Fab 50s group was there. They were there at the hospital. They were there afterwards. They just pulled together. They took care of our families while we were, in surgery. And it's amazing. It's amazing God's love, and how, as you grow more mature, not older, as you grow more mature, those friendships are so important. And just the love that you can, the pettiness goes away, and then it's just you're just left with love, friendship and love.
Yeah.
And that's what we 100% felt.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else before we move on to the 1 year and celebrating. I was trying to think if there's anything else with my process that I feel like I've covered most of that before. And, I'll just do it quick. If anyone ever thinks of donating, and we've said it before in our other podcasts, that you can donate blood, you can donate tissue. I mean, there's
plasma,
there's so many ways to donate. Maybe you're not ready to donate a kidney. You can donate part of your liver too to someone, but maybe you're not ready for that. it doesn't have to be a big, huge donation. It can be on a smaller scale, or it can be sharing stories so other people know about it. I think it's nothing I ever thought about doing. I've always been on like a registry and the the organ donor on your license and that type thing, but it's nothing that I would have ever considered before, and but it's one of the greatest things I've ever done. And so, and both of our kidneys are thriving.
Yes.
And what fondly named mine what?
Rocky.
Yeah.
Yes, my kidney is because he's a fighter.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so my kidney is Rocky. That right now I have 3 kidneys. And which is, you know,
She's a cheater.
I know, which is my fun fact for you know, for parties.
Yeah.
But yeah, my Rocky is doing great. You know, Rocky is living his best life.
Yeah. But anyway, so okay, fast forwarding, and we just hit our 1-year anniversary, and you'll notice on our hats, it's the big motto slogan. We've got a couple we stand by. The other one is faith over fear, because it's what we lived out through that whole process. But then the other one that my hat says is change the ending to someone's story.
And then it says, I have a new ending to my story.
And that is what we're all about, is help change the ending to someone's story that doesn't look hopeful. And whatever that is, we did it in the you know, in relation to the kidney, but that could be anything on changing the ending to someone else's story. And that's what, you know, for Tammy, now she has a new ending to her story, that where before she didn't really know what that was going to look like, the ending to her story. And now she knows she has a new ending with a renewed life, and that you can do that for someone else too.
Right. And it doesn't have to be medical. It can be just reaching out to somebody, finding that one person that needs something, you know, that needs a friend, that needs some of your time, that needs, you know, and if you do like, all my friends are fine, well, and you still want to give, well, give blood, give plasma, give, you know, give your time to a charity, just give. And I feel like that's the message.
Yes,
the message to open your heart and give.
Yes. So when Tammy and I, we kept tossing back some ideas on some things we wanted to do to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. And we started talking about different trips and places to go and things. And I don't, you know, everything just felt like, well, okay, yeah, it'd be fun to go to the beach. But, and so we came up with the idea, because the transplant was performed in Houston, and I live in Austin, and Tammy lives in Houston. And so I went back to Austin, to Houston. I went back to Houston, and Tammy and I spent June 7th going to, well, we went to the hospital where we had the procedure. I was trying to think how we did our direction on the way. We got a nice hotel downtown, and we went to the hospital. We had our hats on, which was a great conversation starter. And we got to share our story with people, because they'd read them and be like, oh, those are cute. Well, what does it mean? And so we got to share our story. And then Tammy had made up a basket with just snacks and goodies. We put encouraging cards, scripture cards, thank you notes, little rubber duckies with 1-year kidney anniversary on it, and just a basket that we brought up to the hospital, the floor that Tammy was on, the transplant floor. And we went to see the nurse and the staff, and they were so amazing.
Happy to see us. Oh yeah, there were, I think, 2 or 3 people at the desk, and we walked in and they're like, can we help you? And we were like, well, a year ago today, she donated her kidney to me. And next thing we knew, there were 10, 12 nurses that all came to the desk, and everyone, you know, came around and they were asking us questions. And it was a really, really amazing experience.
Well, and the whole thing about it, it's not like we were looking for, look at me, you know, wanting recognition for what we had done. It was, we wanted people to see look what God did, give
Mhm.
God the glory,
Yes.
and give hope in whatever anyone that we came across that day, that we would make them go, wow, okay, maybe my day isn't so bad, or whatever the situation is for each person. And so it just was so great to do that and to thank them for all that they did while we were there. And we did a video where we rang the bell. You get to ring the bell when you leave the
You leave
hospital.
the hospital with your new organ. Yes.
Mhm. And so last year, Tammy wasn't feeling so great when we rang the bell either. She was not ready to leave the hospital yet. I was leaving that day. And they let us ring it early so that I could ring it with her. And that is a moment. If you haven't seen it, I have it on my Instagram. It's such a sweet, memorable moment that, I'll never forget. And again, we had all the nurses and staff were there, and they, they were calling them all up to come cheer us on. But we got to stand by that bell and take a couple pictures back next to it. So that was exciting. But we wanted to go back to where it started, because when we went, it was just such a different feeling, a different world. And every time I had to go there and do different things, or while I was in the hospital, it just felt different. So it was really a great experience to go back and experience it all with the purpose of just bringing hope and joy to people.
Right.
And then what else did we do while we were there?
We
In the
got to,
hospital?
yeah, we got to talk to 2 kidney patients, and we got to meet them. We got to talk to them. We heard their story. We shared our story with them. So it was good. It was good to have that connection with somebody who's gone through the same thing you've gone through. We didn't get, we didn't get to talk to any donors,
Yeah.
but we did talk to 2 recipients.
Yeah.
And and just the struggles that they had been through and where they are now, and it was amazing. I really felt like it was an amazing moment.
Yeah. And let's see. So we did that, and then when we went to lunch, one of the ladies working behind the counter wanted to know about our hats, and we shared it with her. And the next thing you know, we got to pay, and they said, "Oh, this is on us." So just more instances of people giving back.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed by just our story.
Yes.
And again, I feel like these stories, when we share our story, I've always said your stories matter. Our stories are meant to be shared. And when we share stuff like this, we never know what that person's going through that day and how that might have brought them hope that they needed that day. And so tell them about the Uber drivers.
Oh yeah, so we told our story to all of our Uber drivers.
Yes.
2 of them were very interested. One of them didn't really want us talking.
We think he forgot we were back there, and
yeah, he was not amused by us at all. But we saw two of our Uber drivers who, one of them was so interested in the story and knew a lot about kidneys and what they do, because he works there in the medical center. So he had a lot of really good questions.
He said he's always talking to his people that get in his car. And so he's always hearing stories, and they're telling him things. He said, it's amazing what you learn by driving people around. And that's my encouragement right now. When you get in an Uber, ask questions, talk to the driver and hear their stories.
Yeah. So the second Uber driver we had, we were explaining our story. He was asking about it, about the hats. We explained our story to him. And then he said that June 8th, the following day, was 1 year since he had his stroke.
No,
heart attack. I'm sorry.
Heart attack.
1 year since he had his heart attack. And he was living and he was thriving, and he told us all about his pickleball match. And so,
he played something else too.
Yeah,
I don't
he played
remember
2 things. I can't remember.
Pickleball and something else very active.
Yes. And but it was great to have that, that person that was like, oh, I've gone through something traumatic too. And mine's okay. I
Yeah.
turned out okay, and I'm still living my best life, and things are great. And so we had a really great conversation with the Uber driver.
Well, and I think the cutest part of that conversation with him was when he said, "Oh, but I don't want to take away from your day. This is your day, you know." And we were like, "It's okay.
Right.
You can share your story on our day.
Yes.
But really tomorrow's your day, so get off our day." No. But I mean, so that was fun. Let's see what else. And then Tammy and I, what else did we do? We just did
Yeah.
too much beyond that. I mean, it was a lot of walking
It
around.
was a lot.
Very
Yeah.
hot downtown Houston.
Mhm.
But our whole goal in it was just to go and just go back to the places we went and offer hope and love and encouragement. And it was great. Did we go to some fancy island or, you know, go to some amazing place? No, but it's exactly where we were supposed to be.
Right.
And
We were supposed to be.
and it
Yeah.
felt great. And then that evening, our high school friends that were able to join us, girlfriends, all met us, and we had dinner where Tammy and her husband and me and my husband had dinner 2 nights before the surgery.
Mhm.
And so we went back there and had dinner there, tried to find our waitress, but she had already moved on. And so we had a sweet night with
Yeah.
our friends there.
Yeah, with our Fab 50 friends
Yes.
who are always there, you know, always there. They always have our back.
Yes.
So,
And so then Tammy drove back here to Austin with me and
mhm.
has just been spending time here and time with my family. And our family celebrated us yesterday. And it's just been, it's been exactly what a 1 year anniversary should be. And I think it's just reflecting on where we've been, how far we've come, and just spending that time, it just enjoying and offering love and hope and encouragement to others. And that's exactly what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're sharing this. People may be going, enough of your story. But it's just why we do it. It's why I do this podcast. It's to offer out just our stories that we hope and pray not even one, but many out there needed to hear this today. And so with that said, and wrapping up, what are some of the things that you have planned, or even maybe things you're like, I'd really like to try that. I really like to do that.
Yeah. Well, I want to learn how to play pickleball.
I know,
That's my big thing.
And I'm going to hold you accountable with that, because I do remember on one of our podcasts you said you were going to learn.
I know,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't. So that is.
And who has played pickleball?
Carla.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I want to play pickleball. In the fall, we're planning on the four of us going to Big Bend and going
Hiking.
camping, and yes, and camping.
She says
glamping.
camping.
I know, not camping.
Okay.
I'm not camping.
Yeah.
Glamping, I
Yeah.
might do that.
Yeah.
A cabin with AC, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And so we're planning on doing that, and then we're planning on something for my husband and their birthdays are 1 day apart. And so we're planning on a big birthday celebration.
Yeah.
So more info to come on
And
that.
if you haven't listened to the first one, was it the first one? I don't know, where we talked about, you know, I mean, Tim and I go way back
Mhm.
to 12 years old. And yeah, he used to like me.
Yeah. They kissed and in the hallway, and then
in sixth grade.
in sixth grade. Yeah.
So
every time I'm with her, we got to talk about the kiss.
It was a huge love affair at, 12 years old. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, I want to do those things with Tammy. I'm trying new adventures, new things. I have played some pickleball. I love it. It is so fun. And I do love doing that. And I have a paddle boarding experience challenge coming up in September. If you want to know more about that, again, go to my Instagram or Facebook. It's on both. And you can learn more info on what I'm doing there and really challenging myself in that one. And I can't think of what else. I think that's, I'm going to stick with, I'm really focused on my walking and weight training and just keeping my body healthy and strong as it can be. And just focused on family and friends and
Faith.
faith for sure. Faith number one. And and of course my podcast and my health coaching, all the things I love to do. Continue on, and my women's group, and I'm not at a shortage of things to do.
No, she's quite busy. Half the time I call her and she never picks up. I'm like, remember me? You gave me one of your organs.
And I'm like, okay, you've got my kidney. Calm down. I have
what else do you want?
I have no other organs available, which is a standard question for people to go, can I have your other kidney, or what else have you got that I could have? I'm like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
I'm done with the co-eating. Yes. But with that said, yes, as you can see, I mean, Tammy and I both, we think we're super funny.
Oh, I mean, we're hilarious.
We think we're funny. And I mean, we always have a good time. But then even in those good times, we have shared some really difficult times and some really hard times too. And so things always haven't been, just smooth sailing. But when you're surrounded by people that and you love and you have your faith, and then, I mean, things just fall into place. And we couldn't, neither one of us could do this without our faith.
Absolutely.
It is what carries us through every single day and has carried us this far, and we know it'll continue on. And I don't worry, oh my gosh, what if my kidney doesn't work one day, or if Tammy's doesn't, or what if her body rejects it? I don't put the what ifs out there, because again, faith over fear. And I believe that God ordained this and put this into place when he introduced us, when we were 15 years old. And I also accept the fact that if anything does ever happen, it was part of the plan too.
It was part of the plan. Absolutely.
So do you have anything you want to add? Anything you can think of?
I just want to say thank you to God and to Carla and her family, who sacrificed a lot for this to happen. I just want to say thank you, because, it's changed my life.
Yeah.
And my family's life.
Well, and it's a blessing to our family. And, even my husband was saying it last night and praying about it, is that it's a blessing to us to see Tammy healthy and thriving and have this renewed life and able to do things and enjoy stuff with her family. And I don't, on a daily, or rarely do I think about, I gave a kidney. I mean, the only time I'm reminded is if I see my little scar on my tummy, but that's not even that big. But it's just it has brought my family joy also, in the whole process. And it's just a beautiful thing. So
it is a beautiful thing.
I think that's all we have. I promise we probably won't do another update until maybe year two. I mean, because I never want to take for granted what this was or what it was about. And I will never not celebrate it or not talk about it or worry if people think we talk about it too much, because I don't believe that we do. And I believe that it can help someone out there that just needs to hear the story. And so that's why we do what we do, and we give all the glory to God for all of it.
Yes, 100%. Amen. And if you have a great story, share it. Share it with somebody, because that's what some people need, just that hope. And to share the story.
Well, and I always say too, for my podcast, if you know someone with an amazing story, a story that needs to get out there, that will help other people, reach out to me. My info's in the show notes. You can reach out. We can talk about you or that person being a guest. I love to get the stories out there that inspire and help people and encourage and bring hope. So if you are one of those or know someone, just reach out. And so with that, I think we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
From Carla and Tammy. But thank you for joining us on Your Age Is Not Your Cage podcast with Carla Allen. I come out with a new one every single Wednesday. And don't forget to go and rate and review and subscribe on YouTube. It helps me so much when you do that. And share this with your friends and family. Share it with anyone that might need to hear this story. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Tammy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carla.
Okay, bye.
Bye.